What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to my channel, and we are doing a video on Dissidia Final Fantasy Opera Omnia. If you guys can see right now, I am recording this live on my Twitch stream. This is something that I'm going to be doing for the very first time. I want to know what your guys' feedback on it is. But we're going to be doing the Art of series. We're going to be doing the Art of Gilgamesh, because Gilgamesh is going to be getting his C90, his rework, as well as the debut of his LD and burst weapons soon on Global Opera Omnia. So the Art of Gilgamesh is here to prepare you guys. Now, if you guys remember, this series is not intended to go super in-depth. I'm pretty much just going to try to tell you guys what's important about the character, and then that way you guys can formulate your own educated decision or opinion on if you're going to invest on this character or not. So if you guys are looking for more in-depth stuff, I highly recommend you guys check out the links in the video description as well as the pinned comments, and also check out your resources. Guys, please bookmark the compendium. Us content creators, we're not walking Dissidia encyclopedias, all right? Just putting it out there. We tend to forget things ourselves, so please bookmark the compendium. It's linked down below in the video description as pinned comments. And also, guys, because my Twitch viewers are joining in this video, they're going to be chiming in too. So if I forget anything or if I have a hot take, they're going to correct me. And I encourage you guys to read the comments. Hopefully, you guys can read it on this video. So anyways, we're going to go ahead and dive right into the Art of Gilgamesh. So taking Gilgamesh right here. Let me just set this up first because I don't want this Ramu to accidentally blow me up on this video. So Quistis is going to do her thing so Gilgamesh does not get blown up. And hopefully you guys like the background music I chose for this video because I call him the Deadpool of Final Fantasy. Just keeping it real. All right, so Gilgamesh, what does he do? Well, once he gets his C90, his LD, and his burst, and his rework, Gilgamesh is a damage dealer that has utility in the form of gravity, in the form of delay, in the form of a melee imperil, and he also has utility in the form of RNG, and that is tied to the buff that he gets with his LD. And we're going to get into that when I start talking about that. But first and foremost, what does he get with his rework? Well, first of all, his C65, when you use it now after you unlock his C88 passive, he now also gets attack up and brave, I think it's brave damage cap up or something like that. So does more damage. He's a damage dealer. It's going to help him out, right? His skill 1 and skill 2 both get more uses. His skill 1 is the one that deals reduces enemies brave before he actually does his damage, and now it does 2 HP dumps, so that's pretty cool. And it also has a 25% chance to paralyze, so this is going to be your button if, let's say, a boss has a lot of brave. You can reduce their brave and then deal damage, and then you have a chance to stun them, so that's what that does. It's at 2 HP dumps, so I don't really see you pressing this button too much if you're going to be looking to do damage with him, but it's there if you need it. And then his skill 2, remember, his skill 2 has 2 different forms. It has Mad Dance and it has Wild Dance. We're going to focus on Wild Dance because after he gets these upgrades, this is probably the one that you're going to have access to. So before, the way that this works is that you would get access to Wild Dance only if you have the transformed versions of his Brave and HP commands. But then after you use it, I believe back then you would lose access to Wild Dance and you would have to go back and rebuild up. I think it was the stacks that comes from his stacking buff. But now they fixed it to where his stacking buff, once you have it at 5 stacks, even after you use Wild Dance, Kotetsu and Genji, and Genji Blade, which is his 2 special commands, they won't fall off, so you're always going to have access to Wild Dance. So Wild Dance now has 4 HP dumps, and this is going to be probably one of his harder hitting skills, so this is going to be one of the ones that you're going to want to press from a damage point perspective. But enough of that, we're going to go ahead and talk about the new upgrades he gets from his weapons, which one of them is going to be coming from his LD. So first of all, fully upgraded, the LD deals 4 HP dumps, and it applies a brand new buff on Gilgamesh. And this is where we're going to talk about the RNG utility aspect of this character. So we're going to go ahead and press it right here. All right. There we go. Pretty good amount of damage, pretty decent. And as you can see right there, see his HP command? It changed into a question marks. So what this does is his HP command every other turn is going to change into either Paladin Cecil's LD, Cloud's LD, Onion Knight's LD, or Ramza's LD. Now the effects are going to be like kind of nerfed versions of them, but it's kind of cool because you get some random utility from this character. So if we press this button right here, right now, something to note, all of these random special commands that he has access to, they all deal 2 HP dumps. They all refund his Brave based on the HP damage he deals, and they all have Splash. So that, and they're all also insta-turn. So that's just something to keep note. Any one of these 4 different weapons that he gets access to, they're all insta-turn. They all do all that stuff that I just mentioned. So just something to keep in mind. So let's see which one we get here. And it looks like we got Onion Knights. Look at that. We got Onion Knights. So if we had a party comp, he would do the turn manipulation. He doesn't give him the free skill usage, but again, it's a nerfed version of the effect. And as you can see right there, it changed right back into Genji Blade. But you could easily just do this. You could press his C65. All right. And lo and behold, we have access to another weapon. So let's see what we get this time. All right, so it looks like we got Ramza. So with Ramza's weapon, it does the launch or the knockback, but you don't get the delay off of it. So you can see that he has access to pretty much 4 LD weapons from 4 different characters, and they each have one of their effects. The Paladin Cecil one gives you the HP overflow and heal, and then the Cloud actually delays by 2 turns, so that's also pretty useful too. Now let's just go ahead and press one of his skills because I want to get into his EX. And as you can see, there's Wild Dance. That's going to be his one of his harder hitting skills. And as you can see right there, we have access to another weapon. So let's go ahead and just press and see what we get. We got Clouds. So we got that, what was it, 2-turn delay. Pretty cool, right? All right, and then for the purposes of the video, let's just go ahead and press his skill 1. Let's see if we can get the stun off. And we did not get the stun off, but that is perfectly okay. We got another weapon. So you know what? Let's press that and see what weapon that is. Oh, I think we got Paladin Cecil's. Yep, as you can see, we got the overheal. So, RNG utility, but still, they're pretty cool effects, and they can be really useful. And then right here, let's just go ahead and go right into his EX. So his EX also does 4 HP dumps. It gives you a stack of his stacking buff. I think it's Clash on the Big Bridge, which, again, is pretty important because you want that at 5 stacks. So then that way, you'll never lose access to his skill, the better version of his skill 2. Now, let's go ahead and talk about his burst, okay? So we're going to go ahead and go to his burst effect. Here we go. So that is his burst effect right there. All right. Now his burst effect lasts for 12 turns, and this stacks all the way up to 4 stacks, and the stacks go up as Gilgamesh takes an action. So every time he takes an action, the stacks increase, and it goes up to 4 stacks. Now, here's the most important part of this burst effect. At 4 stacks, and actually you don't even need to green it to have this effect, at 4 stacks, he gives the party HP damage cap up, which we all know how juicy HP damage cap up is, but he has to be at 4 stacks. If it's not greened, I believe he gives 20%, but if it's greened, he gives 30%. Now, I know there's already going to be comparisons to Garnet and all that yada yada hot takes and stuff, but guys, why not use both? So you get 30% from Gilgamesh if you green him, and then you get 40% from Garnet with her burst effect in blue. So, see? So he does give HP damage cap up, which is pretty good. Now, what I like to do in this case, because I want to get Gilgamesh all the way to 4 stacks, right? Because we know that his LD, or that special effect from his HP command is insta-turn. He gets to take another turn, and then you can just go into C65. Okay, now we're at 3 stacks. And then now we are at 4 stacks. Now we have access to 30% HP damage cap up, which, again, we all know how juicy HP damage cap up is. So, to summarize what Gilgamesh does, he's a damage dealer. He has an RNG-like utility with his with that HP command coming from the LD buff. He also has other forms of utility that are not RNG, such as the delay with his EX. He has the potential paralysis with his skill 1. He also has the gravity with that, which can come in handy. And then I believe it's one of his commands, I think it's this one, that inflicts melee imperil if you need that. So he's pretty much a jack of all trades, master of none. Now, I know there's going to be a lot of hot takes about this character because this character is a meme, but if you think about it, even though his RNG-like mechanic can be a little clunky, all those effects are pretty useful. You have overheal, you have launch, you have delay, you have turn manipulation. I mean, all 4 of those effects on their own, they're pretty good. And we're in the C90 era where Lufenia Plus is really, unless you don't count, the recent content that we got that's global first. Honestly, the content all of these effects can be pretty useful. It doesn't really matter. Now, in terms of characters that can help Gilgamesh, if you plan on investing in him and having him in your party, I highly recommend you guys put characters that give Brave refund after they do HP damage. So, for example, you got Bartz, Garnet, Ursula, or who is it? Iroha, because outside of, I believe it's his special commands from his LD and his actual LD, he doesn't refund. And if you noticed, when I went into his burst finisher, he only did like 600k because he wasn't refunding himself. So I highly recommend, if you guys are going to be using this character in your party and you're going to be fully investing, make sure you run it with Brave refund, so then that way you're actually amping up the amount of damage that he does. But this is going to go ahead and conclude my video for the Art of Gilgamesh. Again, let me know if you guys like this new format. I wanted to try it out. I wanted to get my viewers involved. And again, if you guys were reading the chat there, you might see something that's also useful to give you a little bit more information on Gilgamesh. Thank you to my Twitch viewers for helping me out with this. Stay tuned for the next video, and mahal, everyone.